All right, all right. Welcome to episode numero 7. All right, listen, this video is going to be dedicated. This podcast is going to be dedicated to agency owners. So if you are a social media marketing agency or a software as a service agency, you want to listen up to this video. You want to watch this thing in entirely, because as I'm going to share with you and hopefully save you 7 years to make your first 6 figures a year. Yes, it took me 7 years before I cracked in 1 year my first 6-figure year. All right. And I'm going to share with you some of the things that I did that I learned by paying mentors and spending and investing money in myself, in knowledge and books and trial and error and stressful nights and waking up in the middle of the night with panic attacks because I was so stressed, right? So I'm gonna share with you some of the things I did, and the number one thing that really kept me at not reaching that potential, that goal, which was 6 figures a year, and then now 6 figures a month, right? So listen, if you're a social media marketing agency, you probably already know there's a lot of moving parts to growing an effective, scalable social media marketing agency. If it was easy, I can promise you everybody would own a social media marketing agency. Does it take zero capital to start? Absolutely. When I started this company back in 2016, 2017, I started with basically no money at all. All right. The only thing I bought was I had a laptop, I had internet, and I had a cell phone. All right. Oh, and I bought a course, right? I bought a course that helped me basically structure the business. But why are so many agency owners out there struggling and not having the 6-figure year or the 6-figure month that they're looking for, right? I'm going to put it right up there right now. The number one reason why most agencies, and like any business, they do not scale is because they do not have self-booked appointments in high volume with high quality individuals. You heard that right. You want to have a bunch of booked appointments every single day, all right, of people that are pre-qualified. So they went through forms before they got to you, all right? So you want to have that. That way you have a full calendar, you have a full amount of opportunities that you can serve people. Instead, which how I did it in the beginning, which is probably why it took me 7 years to get there, right? It only took me 1 year after I started running ads. Actually, not even 1 full year after I started running paid ads to get to the 6-figure mark a year. All right. So the way I started the business back in 2016 was like the end of 2016 or so. And it was that I was going basically door to door, the traditional way of knocking on doors, going to small businesses and trying to create that necessity, that desire for a service. All right. And that was really, really difficult, extremely difficult. Why? Because I was going in cold in the middle of the day to a business that was operating, that was working, and hoping to reach the decision maker or business owner and offer them something that I didn't have a clue if they were even looking for it. Did I get customers that way? Absolutely. But the amount of time, the hours, the travel time that I spent going door to door to businesses, it was not worth the investment, which was time, the most valuable asset that you and I have, which is our time. So what did I do after it? I started tweaking things. I was like, oh, how about if I call, right? I started learning from Grant Cardone. He says, why don't you just make cold calls to businesses? You can cover way more businesses in less amount of time. Well, I tried that too. I even hired people overseas in like Venezuela and in other countries like the Philippines to make cold calls for me. I had like 18, 19 appointment setters at one point working for me, pounding the phone on cold calling. And the amount of energy that it took me to monitor and supervise and basically babysit sales appointment setters, right? That amount of energy was way too much of a high payment to pay. Way too much, right? The return, nothing close to the amount of time and effort and energy and dedication that it took me meeting with this about 18, 19 appointment setters, right? They were non-experienced. I was training them all, and I put them on a commission performance-based model. I thought that was great. In my mind, in the beginning, I was like, oh, this is great. We did that for a few months. This is great. This is great, right? It went absolutely nowhere. Nowhere. I think I may have gotten maybe one client from there, if that. I had a bunch of meetings with people that were not really interested. They're like, oh, what? When I ask them, why are you here when we meet? They're like, oh, well, one of you guys set up the appointment and I was just curious. I wasted a lot of time, right? So that was error number 2. I went from door knocking, basically going cold, to then trying to do this over the phone and pounding the phones. I was pounding the phones too. And trust me, that all that got was a lot of aggravation, right? People hanging up on you, right? Because you're disturbing their day. Not interested. Boom. Not interested. Not interested. Not interested. And yes, if you do that a million times, you make some money, right? Because you find, maybe 20 or 25 people that are interested. But a million times, bro, is that worth it? No. So I did the best thing that I knew what to do, which was the third thing I did, which is what I'm sticking to until I learn to do it or until the organic traffic kicks off. The third thing I did, which is working massively, which is what we preach. And in my brain, when I figure it out, I'm like, why haven't I been doing this? This is what I sell. Why am I not living what I sell? Why am I not practicing what I preach? Right? So the third thing I did that is working beautifully is running paid ads. Yep, you heard it right. A marketing agency, I was not running paid ads to get my customers. And I wanted to sell them that service. So imagine how contradicting that is, right? Same thing with going to networking. That's another thing I did too. I spent money on networking like BNI, Chamber of Commerce, and I spent hours, countless amount of hours. Yes, that worked better than the first two, like going cold door to door to business and cold calling. The networking worked better. But again, I was paying the highest value, the highest price, which was time, right? Time, you never get it back. Money, you get it back. Always, if you put in the effort, right? But time, you never get it back. So if you're out there right now and you're spending your highest valuable asset, which is your time, networking, cold calling, bothering people to try to create an interest, listen, I'm telling you, you're doing it freaking wrong and it's costing you the highest price you could ever pay, right? Or even worse, if you're out there and you're buying a list, I may have done that too. You're buying a list and then you're pounding them with emails, cold emails, texting, right? Which you cannot even text now a lot because you get blocked fast, right? And then you're trying to pound those cold calls or cold list with phone calls. That's also is going against the current, right? So the number one problem you have right now, if you are trying to scale and grow a social media marketing agency or a software as a service, is that you are not running ads and your ads suck, straight up. All right. You want to run ads that are irresistible. You want to run ads that people feel crazy not replying to and saying, hey, I'm going to book an appointment, or hey, I'm just going to buy online. All right. So that is a number one problem that once you fix it in your business is going to take off, given that you have the other structures, right? Because it's not, now you fix one major problem, which is getting the attention, getting the customer, getting the booked appointments, right? But now you got to know how to present, how to sell it, how to close it. And then you got to learn how to fulfill that service so that you can retain that customer and they too can see results. All right. So there's a lot of moving pieces to this thing. All right. So that's the part right there. This is why most agency owners, and I know because I know a few people that I met back in 2020 on a coaching for agencies, and most of those guys and gals, the men and women, they're out of the business. They're doing something completely different. Other types of businesses, just doing things that are not the agency, right? And why is that? because they just never learned the pieces. They never got good at fixing each phase, each part of the business. The number one is you got to get good. You got to become great at getting customers to come to you, right? Every single day, I tell you, where I spend the majority of my assets, my time is on meetings every single day, every day, right? On a daily, if I have like if I have 2 appointments in one day, that's like a very, very low appointment day, very low production on the appointments, right? Normally, my calendar, what it looks like is I got anywhere from 5 to 8, sometimes even more, but 5 to 8, I try to limit it, appointments per day, Monday through Friday. And then Saturdays, I may accept about 3. And on Saturdays, when I accept appointments, it's either a close or an onboarding with a client, right? Because if I'm meeting on Saturday, there's a transaction that is either going to take place on that meeting or it already took place before that meeting, right? Because Saturdays is Saturday. Saturdays for transaction, right? Or onboarding. But listen, if you're trying to grow a social media marketing agency and you're like, man, how do I do this? This is not making any sense. Why am I stuck at 1 or 2 clients every month instead of getting the average, which is 1 or 2 clients a day or 1 or 2 clients a week, depending on what ticket level you have. If you have high ticket, 2, 3 clients a week, great, right? If you have low ticket clients, well, you need higher volume so that you can scale faster. And then how do you train a team? Salespeople, right? Which is the last thing you should outsource. That's the biggest advice I could give you as an agency owner. The last thing you want to outsource or not outsource, but the last thing you want to delegate is the sale. Why? Because you should be the best salesperson in your business, especially when you're getting started. You should be the one in those meetings. You should be the one closing it. You should be the one on the front end. And then figure out the back end. Once that back end is running smoothly, then you start to train on the front end, which is training sales professionals and giving them an opportunity to make a significant amount of commission. You heard that right. Give your salespeople at least the first month retainer, give them a significant cut, right? What is a significant cut? 25 to 50%. You don't want to give too much, but 25, 50% of the first month. And then you want to give them a monthly recurring. Why? Because most salespeople out there, they sell one time and they never get paid again. How in the world can you progress if every time you make a sale, that is the only time you're going to get paid from that transaction? What if you did a transaction today and you got paid every single month when they pay, or every quarter, or semi-annually, or once a year at least? But you want to get paid at least monthly, even if it's X percentage, right? So you want to keep your salespeople motivated by giving them that. But listen, if you are a social media marketing agency, a software as a service, I put together a follow and do it yourself and done with you course and coaching where you get to meet with me one-on-one every week as a group. And I personally answer any questions you have in regards to growing and scaling your agency, right? And especially the software part. You always want to put the software as a service along with a retainer because that's sticky money, all right? Once you start making over $10,000 a month, life gets fun, right? Life gets fun. You get to do more things of what you like, depending on your expenses, right? Maybe you need 50,000 before you could do the things that you want to do, right? So how do you get there and not take 7 years like I did? Well, the fastest shortcuts that I learned is hiring mentors, hiring people that have done what I want to do so that they can show me the fastest way to get there and avoid as many mistakes as possible. Not all the mistakes. You still want to make some mistakes and you're going to make some mistakes, but you want to avoid the biggest tedious mistakes that you're going to make in your business, which will hold you back from that lifestyle that you came to live in this business, right? And I tell you this, like, for example, right now I'm on the transition of my business where I want to free myself up, right? That is the other part you're going to learn is as you do this business, you're going to have to trade a lot of your time to grow the business in the beginning, at least. All right. And once your business is big enough and you have the back end taken care of with the right people, the right systems in place, then you want to do everything possible to free your time, not too much, but you want to free your time that if you go on vacation for a week or 2 weeks, or you want to travel, that you can do so and your business keeps on growing. All right. But you have to get it to that point where it's a smooth operation, right? Where it's growing, it's maintaining, you have the right people and systems in place to do so. So again, this video, this podcast, I wanted to focus on agency owners because there's a lot of agency owners out there that are just straight up struggling, right? The number one piece you want to fix is getting appointments booked on your calendar automatically. I said it, automatically, on autopilot. You shouldn't have to call them. You shouldn't have to text them manually. You shouldn't have to email them manually. You shouldn't have to be begging them for them to come meet with you. You run it, you put it on workflows, automation, sequences, drip campaigns, whatever the heck you want to call it, for them to come to you. All right? Because what happens psychologically when someone comes to you? Now they respect you. Now they know you're a professional, right? It's like when you ask your doctor for a quote, or you're trying to look for a doctor. The doctor is not calling you. The doctor will never call you. Maybe an assistant may call you, but the doctor will never call you. Why? Because the doctor has the solution, quote unquote. I don't believe in doctors, by the way, unless it's something major that has to get removed or added, right? But the doctor will never call the patient before you're a patient. Like if you're browsing around for doctors, especially now that it's open enrollment for health insurance, right? People are looking for whatever they call it, a PPC or whatever, primary care provider. I think that's PPC. No, PPC is pay per click. You see this marketing thing. All right. but listen, my whole point is this. If you're a marketing agency, a software as a service agency, or a social media marketing agency, you want to fix that first part, which is your biggest problem to growth right now. You got to make better ads, better offer, and you have to automate from the ad to the appointment. All that should be automated. There should be no manpower in between that at all. All right. And then watch how your agency just takes off if you're a good closer, right? That's part of how you do this thing. And like I said, I just created a course that you follow where I break down all the pieces of creating a successful social media marketing agency or software as a service agency, a SaaS agency, is all breaking down. And it will take you, I would say, less than 2 hours to consume all of it. And on top of that, we give you weekly. You go weekly with me and other students in the class every single week for about 1 hour to 2 hours of coaching where you get to ask and we answer any questions you may have. The whole point of this is that you can help as many people as possible so that you can have the lifestyle that you deserve and that you want. All right. And in there, I also show you the fundamentals of what are non-negotiable for you as a person that you must do every single day. All right. Because if the operator, the heart of the business, usually the biggest bottleneck or the biggest thing that holds businesses from growing is the operator. All right. Like I bet you if Elon Musk comes and take your business, it goes through the roof. Why? Because Elon Musk operates at a different level. So in this course, I'll show you how to operate at a different level to get to the level you want to be at. It's not just automation. It's not just structure. It's not just ad. There's a lot of things, a couple of things, right? A couple of things that go behind it that you get to do to get there. But listen, this was an episode of Hey Listen, dedicated for my agency owners and SaaS agency owners out there that want to scale past the $10,000, $15,000 a month, or maybe you're above that and you want to get to the next level, 100, 150,000 and whatnot. And that is who this podcast is for. So listen, if you want to learn more about this coaching and how this works, it's a 3 month, 6 month, or a 12-month coaching program. depending what level you need. Go ahead and wherever you're seeing this, there's going to be a link for you to schedule a call to meet with me. And let's see if we can help you take your agency to the next level. Hey, thanks for watching. And hey, listen, have a blessed day. Let's go.